What's up, YouTube fam? Nice to see you back. We're today going to be building another knife. I've been spent the day yesterday drawing out some various designs, which I'll show you. And I've picked one that I'm going to do. I'll turn the camera around, show you what I'm on about. Right, here are some of my drawings, shall we say. These are obviously blade length, 4 inch. I've just drawn a line down the middle at 4 inch, so I know that the blades won't be more than that. And I've drawn out a heap of designs, various different styles, various different, types of blades on them, etc., etc. So I've done some 4 inch ones there. These are 3 inch ones, 3 inch blades. So these are legal for UK carry. Again, various designs. But 3 inch blades just look a bit too short, to be honest with me. But, well. I'm sure you could kill somebody with a 3 inch blade just as easily as you could kill somebody with a 4 inch blade if that was your intention. However, I'm not going to get into that. Some more designs here, obviously. That's a little skinner that I probably will make at some point. Some other various everyday kind of nabs. And what's that? Well, that was a couple of really small ones that I decided to try and draw, but I doubt they'll ever see the light of day. They're really quite a bit too small, to be honest. Anyway, here we are back again. These are the 3 inch blades. And some more of them. Kind of similar to some of the others. Different handle shapes and whatnot. And this is the last page. Again, these are 4 inch. I like this one. It's very similar to the one that I'm doing. This is the one that I'm doing, I've decided. And I've cut it out with the X-Acto knife, scalpel. And that's what it looks like. I think it's going to look really cool, personally, but I would say that, because I'm biased. Anyway, we've got ourselves a length of steel here, and it is 1084, 4mm thick, 40mm deep, I guess, by a metre long. I've already cut a couple of knives off of it, so this will go on here. I'll get my Sharpie, trace around it. That'll give us a line to work to. And then I'll go out to the garage and get the grinder, the angle grinder, and roughly cut as close to the line as I possibly can without going over it. And that'll be less wear on my belts. So I'll do that just now. We'll head out to the garage. Let's go! So we're out in the garage now. I've got my grinder. It's just a 125mm standard issue grinder with the guard on, because I quite enjoy having fingers. And a metal cutting disc in it. Now, steel's sitting there on top of a empty gas bottle, you'll be glad to know. I know it could still have vapours in it and all the rest of it, so I'll just be careful, honest. On the subject of safety, says he, cutting on top of a gas bottle, get yourself a leather apron, like so. And that way, you won't burn through your jerseys, like I have for many years. Right, I'm going to fire up the grinder. I'm going to switch off the video because you don't want to hear me. All you'll hear is a grinder, and it'll be quite noisy. Get yourself some ear protection, get yourself some hand protection. Most importantly, get yourself some eye protection. You only get one set of eyes, and you might think, oh, he's being a bore or health and safety bore or whatever, but I tell you, until you have an accident, then that's when you tend to listen to health and safety advice after the fact. So don't be that guy. Just get it sorted. I'm actually taking this outside. I'm not cutting it on top of the gas bottle. That was just for a wind up. But I'll come back once it's cut, okay? Okay, we've now cut out the template. As you can see, I've started grinding the knife as well. Not much to say really, just keep grinding away until you get to your shape. And one thing I do is, like so these straight lines here, is I'll put it in the platen like so, and then just move it back and forward so that you're wearing the belt evenly. Dip it quite frequently as well, and then you'll get a nicer edge, shall we say. Same with the blade, I do it up and down as well. Well, I take the worst of it off. I'll take it pretty much down to the line by going side to side, and then for the final part I'll stick it on its end and use the platen that way. Take the rest off so as you get more of the platen to play with. Same with this back edge, I'll do that. I'll keep that straight against the platen. You'll end up with a nice straight line. This platen here is actually slightly off 90 degrees, which is why I do the edges like so. It's about 3 degrees off. However, 3.8 degrees off it is. However, that's quite handy for grinding my bevels. It means I don't have to tilt my jig, which is sitting down there. It's that bit of 90 degree. Because it's already set at 3.5 degrees, so it gives you quite a nice bevel and stuff that's 4mm. It's quite a deep bevel though, it will come up quite high, but that's what I'm wanting, so that's fine. So I'll carry on grinding this. Once I get the basic outline, I'll come back and show you. To get into these parts here, what I'll use is this. This is my small wheel attachment. These detach and you get smaller ones. I'll use the smallest one to create this internal sort of bend, if you like. That one I'll just use a straight of the platen. Same with that, I'll use a straight of the platen. But this sort of curved bit here, I'll use one of the small wheels. And what I'll also do is I'll tilt the grinder. It tilts right over on its side, like so. Oh. And I'll use it like that to get into these little bits. I might round the front one, not sure yet. It's quite kind of square and bulky, but you can see here I've still got to straighten this line out here. That's quite a bit of metal to take off on your grinder, shall we say, but just persevere, just take passes, pass by pass, and you'll eventually get down to the line, which you can just see there. The rest of the line, you can see it's just about disappeared. Same with the bottom bit here. Kind of overheated it here when I was cutting it with the angle grinder, to be fair. Not much I can do about that. So I'll take this end off next. Then I'll start working back this one. Take it right across to about here somewhere. And then I'll start working into this. See if I can get it nice and square. The end needs squared off, obviously. That's just where I cut it with the grinder. So I'll crack on with that. Grinder set to 400 odd. 404. And like I say, I'll just move this back and forth until we get it down the line. I'll get my bucket down there for collecting all the sparks, etc. Right, we're a little bit further forward. I need to straighten up this line here. And also need to get into the corners a bit better. It's not looking too clever there, is it? So what I've done is I put my smallest wheel on, and I'm going to use it to hopefully put a bit of curve on there and try and straighten this line out. But I'll tilt the grinder on its side. These are the wheels I was telling you about. There's various sizes, just running bearings. You just push them in there until it's nice and secure. Runs and bearings, and a very handy attachment to have. Right, that's a bit closer to what I'm actually looking for. And I just used this. I tilted it like so. It's got a stopper. That bolt there stops it. And then you can just mark it at the edge like this which is what I did here. Straightened the line out and got both of these corners at a curve. And it looks a lot tidier inside, so I'm quite happy with that. What I'll do is I'll flatten off the sides to get rid of these bars at the edges, and then I'll finish off this blade. It needs to go back, it needs to go up a little bit. Same with the top line, you can just see the black pen there where it needs to come to, where my finger is. And this one needs to come back a little bit, come up a little bit, should I say. But yeah, it's quite a nice little chunky monkey. What I will do is I'll curve this top because it's digging in to my hand when I hold it. I haven't got big hands, mind you, but I can feel it digging in there. See where my pinky is. So I'll put a curve on that. I'm going to be drilling a lanyard hole up here as well. And my scales will come down at an angle, just to accentuate the angles a little bit. I'll maybe take this top, this flat where my finger is, I'll take it down a little bit because you can still see pen there. And it's just a case of just taking your time, you know, taking a little bit off at a time until you're happy with what you've got, because you've no idea how much of a difference it makes, just like an extra couple of passes on the grinder to the overall shape. And you know, you want to get it right, so just take your time. This bottom part here, I think I might take it, let me just show you, I might take it further up here. Like I might change that angle up a bit, kick it up a little bit. We'll see. But first off, I'm gonna do the bottom edge of the blade and the top edge of the blade and this square bit across the top here. And what I'll do is I'll put the platen back on, take this off, put it away, find the other one of these that I took out that rolled under the bench, of course, as they do, and stick all that away, and then we'll get back to grinding this profile. But quite like it so far, to be honest, you know. Quite a nice little knife profile. And I kind of thought it would stick in my hands, you know, with this angle here. This angle where my finger is here being sharp. But it doesn't. It seems to just sit into your front two fingers, you know. Your front two fingers go in there. Your other two fingers sit at the back, you know. It'd make quite a good skinning knife if it had a different shaped blade, you know. Bit more more belly in the blade, but too late now. But maybe one for future, you know. So I'll crack on with this, I'll stop gibbering, then I'll come back when it's all profiled. So there we go, I've tidied this up now. I've got the shape that I want. What I'll do next is, at this end here, I'm going to drill an M6 hole in the corner here for a lanyard. Then I'll mark up where I want my grind lines to come to. And then the hard bit, trying to get the grind lines to agree with where you want them to come to. But we'll get there. But yeah, it's quite a nice little thing, quite like it. Sits well in the hand, you know. It's a little chunker. I rounded off these edges here, both of them, obviously. Just take the corner off them, as you can see. It does make a difference. It doesn't dig in now, so that's good. I would like to maybe put some jimping or something on here, or I might just file some in by round file. But yeah, quite happy with that. Now the grinding commences. I've got a 40 grit belt in here just now. I was using 40 grits before, but I prefer the 100 grit because you get more time, if you like. You know, 40 grits are pretty unforgiving because they do take a fair bit off, and it doesn't take much, like I say, to make a mess of a knife. So I'll maybe use the 40, I'll maybe use the 100, I'm not decided yet. But yeah, this thing's running fine just now, you know, it's bang on the edges of the platen there, so I'll maybe just leave this 40 and grind with that, you know. As you can see, bang on the edge here, and it's maybe marginally over about a millimetre or something. Nothing that'll make any difference. Well, it will make a difference to your plunge lines, but you know, I'm sure I can adjust that millimetre out with the T-bar up there. But yeah, it's quite happy. Just show you it running. And you can see this is a newer belt, and it's running a lot straighter than that last one we had in. In fact, that's running slightly to the left. You can just see the plait in there, so I'll adjust it slightly to the right, and then we'll be bang on. Okay, we're back. As you can see, I've drilled this hole. As you can also see, it's quite close to the edge. It's closer to the edge than I would have liked it to have been, to be honest. But that's just the way of it, I guess. I mean, there is still steel there, but not a lot. It'll be enough to hold a lanyard, I'm sure. On the grinding front, my grinding's getting marginally better, I guess. It's still not anywhere near where I'd like it to be honest. You get this curve on it by having your belt slightly over the edge of the platen. As you can see, I had it slightly further over the edge on this side than I did on this side. That line's not the greatest, to be honest. Come on, focus, god damn it. But like I say, this is a pre-heat treat grind. It will get ground further up after it's been heat treated, but I've got plenty of edge on there now, you know, for heat treating it. Like I say, this is 4mm. This is set to 3.5 degrees. I really need to be able to have the facility to adjust the angle, because ideally I'd like to be getting up to about where this line is here, but obviously at 3.5 degrees I'm probably going to be up to the top by the time I get this edge here down to a reasonable size. So I'm going to have to work on getting an adjustable jig for grinding, because this one's not really doing it. Like I say, it's finer for longer blades at 3.5 degrees or 3.8 degrees, whatever it is, but I think this probably needs to be nearer 5, and maybe 6 even, because it's a short knife, you know, and it's also thicker. It's 4mm, this stuff. My plunge lines, as you can see, when I marked it, I went past it. So I just did the same on the other side to match them up. I went past it as well. But they're kind of lining up, so that's good. Burnt the tip. As you can see, that's what happens. Because there's less metal here, it's easier to burn it, you know, because it's naturally thinner. It looks smaller here. There's not so much mass to take the heat. But that's just the way of it. It's not going to ruin anything. So like I said, I just used the 40 grit belt on this. And what I might do before I put it out to heat treat is I might go over it again with 100, just to tidy it up a bit, get rid of some of these obvious grind lines in it, you know, make it look a bit better. But I'm quite happy with it still, believe it or not. I'm a bit pissed off about this being so close, but that's just a lesson learned, I guess, you know. Hey ho. I'm going to put some Kirinite scales on this. I think they'll look quite smart with the design of the knife, you know. So that's my plan once it comes back from heat treat. So I'll get this sent off once my other stuff comes back from Mr. Clark. I'll get this sent off and a few others once I've made a few others, and we'll get back into it for part 2, which will be the final grind, handles, fitting the handles, sanding and smoothing the handles, etc., putting the pins in and all that jazz, and we'll have a complete knife. So that concludes part 1. Thank you very much for following. I know I haven't completed part 2 of my last video, but that's just because I'm still waiting for the stuff back from heat treating. So this could maybe tide you over till that point. Thanks for watching, I appreciate it. If you get any advice, tips, etc., do let me know, because like I say, I'm pretty much a rank beginner at this, as you can see, but it's a gradual process, and like I said before, it's amazing the small things that will make a huge difference, like that belt hanging over the edge, you know. You can see how that's not as rounded is that I like this side. I'm not so keen on this side, but it is what it is. We'll sort it out in the final grind, hopefully. But I'm quite happy with it. Like I say, thanks for following. Appreciate you. And come back and join us for part 2. Cheers. Bye.